How's everybody doing today? We want to show everybody on a free video today how FBG is going to do this moving forward. On weekends and big days, we are going to have videos just like this for our pick four, pick five type plays for that day. So we're going to try to keep the budget for the smaller players about $60. For the bigger players on a pick five, $200 and under, and show the differences and try to keep these as short as possible. So let's get into Gulfstream Park on Wednesday, the early pick five. So the first thing we're going to do, our number one rule is when we go two or three deep or four or five deep, we don't want to just use the first four choices or the first three choices. Somewhere in there, we want to give ourselves a chance to have a decent sized price. So not all the time can that happen, but let's do it. Let's look at it. So you got the first at Gulfstream, 1 mile on the turf. Uh, Maker on the rail with Saez Aplum, or I think it's called. I can't really pronounce that word too well, but you got a 3-year-old colt. You don't know how good he is yet. 2 wins out of 4. They're dropping him. Maybe there's something wrong. They just got him, so we're going to throw him in at 5-1. Almost a must when you're talking a double digit in a claiming race for Maker. The second horse, Ginger Goose, Monmouth, then Meadowlands, then Gulfstream Park West, finally kind of found his niche. I don't like the fact that he's 2 for 30, so to me he's a fringe player, but I can see throwing him in. So on this $60 budget ticket, we're going to throw him in, but we're not wild about him. Our number one horse is the 4, Prince Vincenzo for Kathleen O'Connell. Dropping big time in class, high numbers, likes to stalk. 3 out of 9 is not bad. So that's the number one horse. Of course, you have to deal with a bad rider, and that's why we're spreading out in here, because I'm not a big Rapoli guy. Rispoli, however you want to pronounce it, 1 for 34. The kid's not a very good rider at this level. He can ride at the minor leagues, but as we get into the better races, he struggles. Now, if you are betting a bigger ticket, I would take the 5, Albertown, at 15-1 and throw him in, and maybe even throw Easement in. But for our purposes of trying to keep it under 200, we're going to throw them both in, and let's see what happens. Because on the bigger ticket, you got 5 horses. On the smaller ticket, you're going to have 1, 2, 4. So now in the second race, we're going to move to Party Crasher, the 2, Bell Size Park, the 3, Right on Ready, the 4. All logical horses. And then our long shot play is Social Roy, the 5, at 10-1. Ran second in his last start at 20-1. But I think if you take all 4 of those, this is a spread race. You're safe. If you really want to shorten your ticket, you could take the 2 favorites. But then you're betting into into something that you really can't win a whole lot of money if all you're going to do is take favorites. Right on Ready, I think, is very suspect in this spot. I know he's won 2 in a row, but he's losing his rider. He's getting the kid. One of the wins was in the slop. I'm definitely not convinced that horse is going to win back. Party Crasher figures on a huge cliff drop, but are they just trying to give him away as he broke down? I mean, he's only a 3-year-old. He's running okay for 50,000. Why on earth would you drop him all the way down? So we're a little nervous about that race. So we're going to take all 4 of those horses that we think have any chance. Even a bigger ticket, I would not spread any more in there. I don't think you need to. Now the third race, we're going to get to our single. The people that know how I play, 99% of the time that I bet a pick 4 or pick 5 ticket, I'm singling somewhere. I just don't think in the long run that you can be a successful horse player if you don't have an opinion. And if you don't believe in your opinions, you just can't win money. 1 mile maiden race. I absolutely love Spinning Wheel. George Arnold, Corey Lannery, ship it in from Churchill. This horse was very well met. Her first start at Keeneland, we had all the raves. Everybody calling us saying that this horse can really run. Ran a pretty good race, came up short. Then they stretched her out at Churchill. Again, ran a good race at 1-2. Gambler's Rose has come back to be a decent filly. The horse that runs second in that race come back and win. So that race has kind of turned out to be a good, solid race. She's now got 6 straight works by clockwork off a big layoff. 2 to 1 is fine. If she gets bet to 3 to 5, we're not betting straight anyway. We're trying to hammer this pick 5. That's my single. Spinning wheel, 2 to 1. More of the fact that I think she's got talent, and I don't like the rest of the field. The Pletcher horse, Amy's Image, I'm not wild about. If I went to a second horse, it would be the Ralph Nix horse, Evelyn's Dream. It would not be the Pletcher horse. But I'm going to just, for this purpose and trying to keep this ticket down, we're singling the 3 spinning wheel. So we go to the 4th race. I'm sorry if this is running long, trying to keep it as short as possible. The turf race, again, we're handicapping that it's on the turf. Because of the budget, we're going to try to only take 2 horses for the small players, and that's Robe. Again, allowance horse from Churchill, shipping in, dropping to 50,000. Lester Lascano and Bill Mott. Hard to not take that one. And then we're going to go to the 7 to try to give us a little price. Mike Maker, 5 to 1. Corey Lannery, shipper from New York. And sometimes these New York shippers don't run a step. Other times they run great. So we want to try to take the 5 to 1 just to avoid taking the 2 choices and to try to give ourselves a decent price. Now, on the bigger ticket, we're going to really spread. We're going to take 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 10. So instead of only taking 2, you're going to take 6, and at the end, you're going to see the difference in the price by doing that. So if you can get the short ticket, the $60 ticket, to get through this race with just those 2, we don't have 2 huge favorites. We got a 2 to 1 and a 5 to 1 to try to get through this turf race. Now we get into the last race. I don't like this race, a jump. We are going to use the 2-3 Ya Esta 5 to 2, Candy's Lady 5 to 1. Then we're going to use the 6 Bears Reflection, who's my top horse, shipping in from Woodbine. The 7 Mays Trevor Trove, and then to give us a price, we're going to take the 8 Skippy Is Back on the outside from Tampa. Aubrey Marat, hopefully that horse can just sit the perfect trip and maybe upset him. So on the small ticket, you got 1, 2, 4 with 2, 3, 4, 5 with 3, with 3, 7 with 2, 3, 6, 7, 8. That's a $60 ticket for anybody out there counting. If you can't spend $60, you probably shouldn't be betting the pick 5. If that's too much for you, there's pick 3s. You can bet those same numbers in rolling pick 3s and try to keep yourself at a smaller budget. Now for the bigger players, adding the 5 in the first leg and the 6. So you got 5 times 4 is 20, times 6 is 120, times 5. So you got 120 times 5 divided by 2, and that's where you're at with that, $300. And if you take out 1 or 2 horses in that first leg, you can get that under 200. So you can keep that ticket under 200 if you want to try to get through that first leg with just 1, 2, 4. But if you want to spread to those other 2 horses and then go deep in that 4th leg, it's going to get a little bit more costly for you. So that's where we're at. Thanks for hanging in. 8 minutes is usually too long for us. We try to keep them at 5, but it's hard to do a pick 5 in 5 minutes.